We are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings, secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. This is Abe, your host. It is 5:51 a.m., Saturday, June 18th. Just got off work. It was a pretty chill night. It's been a while since I podcasted. Just been busy with life. Had 2 doctor's appointments this week, so that kind of put a halt on it. And they're Zoom appointments. So, yeah. Let's get on with the show. I haven't really been doing much. Me and Sammy, we went and saw Bob's Burgers at the movie theaters a while back. But it was pretty good. It was funny. I liked it. I like cartoons. It's pretty family friendly. But yeah, as far as updates go, not much else has been going on. Just been working overtime, working like crazy. Yeah, that's about all she wrote. Let's get on with the show. So first comes first. I've been listening to Last Podcast on the Left. It's one of my favorite podcasts. Actually, I'd say probably my favorite podcast. That and Tinfoil Hat are tied. But they came across a story that brought it to my attention. A Chupacabra spotted in Amarillo. City officials want to know what the heck was on camera outside the zoo. And I will, if you're watching on YouTube, I will put a picture up for you so you can check it out. If you're watching on Spotify or Anchor or Radio Public, anything like that, Google Podcast, you'll have to go and sub to me. It's Conspiracy Corner Podcast on YouTube. The profile picture is a dream catcher. But yeah, let's get on with the story. The unidentified Amarillo object, or UAO, was caught on security cameras. Amarillo, Texas. The legendary Chupacabra has been spotted in the Texas Panhandle. Well, maybe. Officials with the city of Amarillo say an unidentified Amarillo object, or UAO for short, was caught on security cameras around 1:25 a.m. on May 21st, walking past a fence at the Amarillo Zoo. Was it a person with a strange hat who likes to walk at night? A large coyote on its hind legs? A Chupacabra? Officials queried. They're hoping the public can help identify the creature in the spirit of fun, if not curiosity. We just want to let the Amarillo community have some fun with us, said Amarillo Director of Parks and Recreation, Michael Kashuba. It is important to note that this entity was outside the Amarillo Zoo. There were no signs of attempted entry into the zoo. No animals or individuals were harmed. There were no signs of criminal activity or vandalism, Kashuba said. Any idea what the UAO might be? You can send your perhaps paranormal predictions to the city's communications office at publiccommunications@amarillo.gov. That's publiccommunications@amarillo.gov. So there's a new serial killer, and, well, it was May 25th, so last month. But, yeah, new serial killer. And this guy is unoriginal as hell. He calls himself the Chinese Zodiac Killer. Had 7 guns, high-capacity magazine, and home. School bus driver is accused of mailing more than 100 threatening letters to media outlets and the White House boasting of his alleged crimes. Albany. Investigators found 7 guns and a high-capacity magazine in the home of a man who called himself the Chinese Zodiac Killer. Sorry, pop-ups. And allegedly mailed more than 100 threatening letters, including one to the White House, boasting of past murders, rape, consumption of human flesh, and plans for a killing spree, a federal prosecutor in Albany said Tuesday. Jesse Bartlett, 45, who allegedly bragged of a kill list, topped by the homeless, runaways, and immigrants, admitted he mailed the letters after his arrest on May 19th. Assistant U.S. Attorney Alexander Wentworth Ping said at a detention hearing before U.S. Magistrate Judge Kristen Hummel. The prosecutor said the walls of Bartlett's home in Lafargeville, Jefferson County, contained messages for the FBI. Court documents show Bartlett, a school bus driver, repeatedly threatened to murder an unidentified bus driver, and Wentworth Ping said Bartlett, who holds interest in the occult and black magic, identified himself as Aleister Crowley. Like I said, this dude's not very original. A late British occultist on the trail registries of the Adirondack Mountains that he referenced in one of his threatening letters. In April 2010, the prosecutor said Bartlett finally shot a former friend he said invaded his home and threatened to kill him. Bartlett was cleared of wrongdoing, calling it self-defense. Wentworth Ping argued it showed Bartlett had used guns in the past to take a life. Assistant Federal Public Defender Michael McGowan Walker asked the judge not to hold the 2010 shooting against his client. In April 2010, the watered-down Daily Times said a grand jury cleared Bartlett of killing the man, Keith E. Brabant, 33. That week, Bartlett told the newspaper that Brabant, his former best friend in high school, was freaking out like he was on meth. McGowan Walker convinced Hummel that his client, who has a daughter, elderly parents, and lacks a passport, is not a flight risk, but the judge said he had grave concerns about the danger that Bartlett posed to the community. On Thursday of last week, 5 rifles and 2 shotguns, along with the high-capacity magazine and other ammunition, were found in his home. Prosecutors also said Bartlett had stated that he is a sexual predator and is on the hunt for the women at all times. For your women at all times. Hummel ordered Bartlett to remain in the Albany County Jail, where the judge said he wanted him to receive a psychiatric evaluation. In December, after Capital Region television news stations received letters from the purported Chinese Zodiac Killer, the FBI in Albany asked media outlets to be on the lookout for similar letters. The Times-Union, which in August 1973 received a cryptic letter from the person claiming to be the Zodiac Killer in California, did not receive such a letter. The criminal complaint said Bartlett mailed letters throughout New York State, as well as New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Vermont, and Washington, D.C., and detailing Bartlett's deeds. The FBI agent's affidavit left little to the imagination. On July 20th, 2021, Bartlett allegedly mailed a letter to a media outlet in Melville, Long Island, the location of Newsday. The letter said, "I have already killed someone in the New York area. Hear my prophecy. I will kill again. Hell wants more souls. I am a sexual predator and a killer among the living. I am not hiding. I am very easy to find because I need to be found, but I must test you." It said, "I will make an example of anyone who refuses to educate the public of my existence." On August 21st, the letter to the White House said, "I made it clear that I would make an example of anyone who has knowledge of me that refuses to educate the public of my existence." The complaint said Bartlett mailed threatening letters to a Birmingham media outlet, a municipality in New Jersey, the New York State Police, and in February to a retail company in Syracuse. In the Syracuse letter, Bartlett allegedly stated, "Each monthly letter contains my current kill count and whether or not I feasted on the flesh of my victims." On May 12th, the FBI began to close in on Bartlett. The agent said investigators watched and filmed Bartlett as he dropped 21 envelopes into the U.S. Postal Service bins in Watertown and Clayton. 3 days later, Bartlett allegedly dropped 21 more letters off at the Watertown bin. Investigators found 42 letters in the bins, all sent by the self-described Chinese Zodiac killer, mailed to law enforcement officers, politicians, and religious institutions, the complaint said. The May 12th letters were consistent with earlier ones, but this time they were signed under the name Crowley. On May 15th, Bartlett warned investigators that their time to catch him was nearly out, according to an FBI agent's affidavit filed in a criminal complaint. Here's another letter. "I grow weary of your inability to capture me and to inform the public of my presence," Bartlett allegedly wrote. Instead, the agent said it was Bartlett's letter-writing spree that was about to end. On Thursday, the FBI charged Bartlett with mailing threatening communications, a federal crime that carries up to 5 years in prison upon conviction. Unlike the notorious Zodiac killer, who was blamed for killing 5 people and wounding 2 others in the late 1960s in San Francisco area, Bartlett has not been charged in any homicide cases. So there you have it. There's the Chinese Zodiac killer. I think, honestly, the dude probably just needs help. I would honestly, if I was the judge, I would just put him in a mental institution or something like that. That's just me, though. Well, here's somebody that I'm a fan of, which is the Quartering. And he got swatted recently. YouTubers The Quartering and Tim Pool subjected to simultaneous swatting attempts. YouTubers Jeremy The Quartering Hambley and Tim Pool were both reportedly subject to separate but related swatting attempts on Tuesday night, with the former alleging that he was even handcuffed and thrown to the ground by responding officers. Here's a video clip. Let's see if it plays.
God damn, Jimmy, this is some serious gourmet shit. No gimmicks. It's coffee. It's good. It's brewed when you order, roasted when you order it. That's the big difference here. You go buy the bags that are sitting in Gander Mountain or whatever like that. Hey, bye guys. Be back. so tired. You know what the craziest thing was? When we were outside, right? Captain and Sweet, we just kept hearing coffee, brand coffee. Yeah, and I was like, what's it? Coffee. And I was like, what? Looking around. And then I open the chat, and all I see is chat's coffee, brand coffee. I'm like, what's happening? Quartering. Jeremy.
I know the real reason now that I had to deal with the local law enforcement last night. Apparently, this person is a huge beanie hater, but they got confused. They got mixed up with beanie and a humble bean merchant. I got caught up in the crossfire. Maybe it was a language translation thing or something of that nature. Beanie, beans, I get it. I understand. All jokes aside, I did want to, first of all, thank Tim Tim and I have been talking at length, like texting back and forth, sharing information, and he's gone out of his way. Like, he covered it this morning on his YouTube channel, which is great because it sent a couple hundred people to maybe even a couple thousand people to my channel. He didn't have to mention Coffee Brand Coffee, but he did, and I appreciate that. By the way, code TIMCAST will save you 5%. Tim doesn't get any of that money, but he doesn't need it. But I do want to cover what happened to him last night, and remind people that I believe, it is my opinion that any type of swatting activity is an attempt to have somebody removed from this planet and should be charged as such. And those charges should stack every time you do it. So to Tim, there's 5 or 10 people in the building. That should be 10 counts. And every time he does it, it should be another round. If this person is ever caught, I don't believe they will be, they should be facing hundreds of years in the clink. They don't care. Law enforcement is going to have to be the ones that actually do something about it and figure it out. I don't think that they generate really, or put any real money towards this kind of thing until it would happen to somebody higher profile. You have a situation where this happened to Tim a dozen times, and they're just really no closer as far as I see publicly to finding out who it is or actually getting any retribution. So really, our local law enforcement is really going to have to be the ones that make the change. They're going to have to invest money to figure this kind of stuff out. I have a couple friends in the FBI who reached out to me this morning just to check up on me and see how I'm doing. I didn't ask them anything about the case, but I did. I will be sending their number, and I got the number of the person that called and the service they used to send the text message and a couple other digital footprint things to send to the FBI, but they're probably not going to catch them. And last night on Timcast IRL, it ended up being evacuated for what was almost a couple of hours. I'm assuming that it was some sort of comment like an Ethan Klein, like someone said an Ethan Klein-esque type comment about the Timcast building. Very scary situation. I know, Tim and his crew's been through it a dozen times. I'm not sure if they were ever thrown on the ground in handcuffs like I was, but certainly you would think at this point, I know that law enforcement is just doing their job, but bruh, can we put a few dollars, this is clearly the same person doing it over and over again. Look, all I can say, because I don't believe they'll be caught, is to ask them not to do that to me again. Do I think that they will care? I don't know. But it's literally the only power I have. Because I don't think that any agency is ever going to catch them. Because they don't care. They're more worried about a couple of goofballs that got out of control last January. All right? They're all worried about that. And so on Wednesday, by the way, this is by the Post Millennial, on Wednesday's live episode of Timcast, the in-studio crew was forced to evacuate due to what was referred to as a potentially credible threat around 9:30 Eastern, so 8:30 our time, I guess. Or no, must have been, maybe Ian Crossman was speaking. Pool suddenly announced that they were being instructed to evacuate the building. The intent scene can be viewed below. You can see that
They buy their medicine. Like if the fire department was incentivized to put out fires,
there's Tim
they
coming
got
in.
paid more for
You
every
can see
fire
an
they
officer.
have to evacuate the building. You better believe that you see a lot more fires. You guys, I love you. I think we're just gonna keep the live stream going, but we have to evacuate the building.
All right.
All right.
We'll be right
So
back.
the stream will just stay up as it is,
Please stay tuned.
and
We'll be
just
back.
please keep watching in case
Been
something
real.
happens.
I
But
know.
if we
Do you have the
evacuate-
live shot?
break, go to Tommy.
We're gonna grab something to drink.
Well, and at this moment, when they left the scene, I decided to have a little bit of fun. We'll get into that. Pool tweeted shortly after, potentially credible threat, PD on site, specialist en route. It looked like there were people looking for things that go boom around the set. Keeping details at a minimum for security reasons, I totally understand that. I'm glad that everybody's okay there. I'm sure being the dozenth time, it's more of an annoyance than it is, anything potentially scary for them. But yeah, I mean, I would like some agency, whoever it is, to really maybe consider trying to figure this out. If you can't figure out where it's coming from, at least prepare local PD with some sort of like, hey, this is a high likelihood of being a hoax. So like we're not having incidents or accidents, or you have some rookie who's a little itchy trigger finger or something like that. That was really my biggest fear last night. Like listen word for word to everything they said, move slowly, comply completely. It's not like they ran up and dove and put their knee in my back. They were fine. But it was, certainly a scary moment. They ended up having the boom squad come out, searching his house and all this kind of stuff. Now that it's happened to him again, and now it's happened to me, I'm certain it'll continue to happen to me, which is extremely frustrating and annoying. I've talked to my local PD, of course, but this is more of a meme. I think I know why they were mad. It's because I kept sending awesome super chats. Like, in the moment I sent, this is what got me. I think whoever was swatting him got mad because I was sending super chats. Like, this is a high stress moment, likely a great moment to brew up a delicious cup of coffee brand coffee. The stress is getting to you. Perhaps one of our new teas will calm you. Perhaps a velvety cup of coffee brand cocoa. I also said stuff like, look, I think we can all agree that this has been a stressful situation. Ancient Mayans have said that organic teas from coffee brand coffee are an excellent way to relax, while it's reported that Native Americans prefer their coffee blends and their cocoas code TIMCAST. That's right, I gave all of his viewers, the promo code is still active, by the way, 5% off all single item orders. And if you sign up you don't need to use the promo code. Anything you set up as auto refill, whether it's coffee or cocos or coffees or teas, you'll get a bigger discount off of 10%. So yeah, I mean, I guess they probably confused bean and beanie, and that's why they were angry with me. I do apologize for that. I would ask that maybe they enjoy a cup of wonderful coffee brand coffee to check it out. And by the way, just an update, and obviously I'll shut up about it again this Friday once the tea officially launches, so that you guys can have another break. But just check out the reviews if you haven't been. There's 499 reviews. These are from people who are actually drinking my product, actually enjoying it, reviewing it. By the way, here's the cold brew. I was glad to receive these, easy to use, and had little to no sediment after pulling the bag. I like it a little milder. The cold brew bags are going over huge for summertime. Here's a lady drinking it. Here's someone with cold brew. People absolutely loving the cold brew for summer. So we have the cold brew, we have the coffee, we have the tea, we have something for everybody. And don't let the Terrys win. Pick up some coffee, cocoa, or tea, or maybe just some merch from Coffee Brand Coffee. You can use code TIMCAST to save, and I appreciate you. All jokes aside, I'm glad everybody's alive, and I'm glad that so many people came to support me last night and send kind words. A lot of other YouTubers and stuff like that. And so many people are trying out the coffee. I think there was at one point last night like 60 people checking out. It was insane. fulfillment's already working on everything. All the tea will start shipping tomorrow or maybe even later today, so we're already on that. Yeah, appreciate you. If you're new to the channel, maybe Tim sent you, please click that red subscribe button down below the video. I would greatly appreciate it. Check out the coffee, link in the description, code TimCast. We'll talk to you again real soon.
So there you have it. In the words of the Quartering, what happened. Occurring on the evening of June 9th, the first of the two false SWAT calls was leveled towards Poole during his hosting of his show, Timcast IRL. As seen live on YouTube, roughly an hour and 20 minutes into the episode, two assumed members of Poole's staff entered his room to inform him fellow host Ian Crossland, Luke Rudkowski, and Lydia Leiterman, as well as that night's special guest, Virginia-based U.S. congressional hopeful Tommy Altman, that they had to evacuate the building. Though many were left confused by Poole and company's abrupt exit, unbeknownst to many was the fact that a short while later, Hambly was also on the receiving end of a false SWAT call. Approximately 2 hours after Poole's evacuation, Hambly took to Twitter to report, "SWAT team just left my house. Somebody texted them that I murdered my wife with a high-powered rifle and was going to kill myself. They deployed the SWAT team for an anonymous text. They all knew it was a SWAT too. Hilarious." 100% dead serious, he assured his followers, "You'll be able to listen to the radio calls online, but no effing body cams. Total bummer." In response to a fellow Twitter user, Pimp Master blah blah blah, joking that he should have given all the nice officers some free coffee for having to go out to your house, a reference to the YouTuber's recent coffee bean retail endeavors, Hambly asserted no, before proceeding to recall a particular detail about the SWAT team's handling of the call. "I supposedly murdered my wife," he explained. "The cops were sitting in my driveway when dispatch called me. My effing wife answered the phone. They should have stood down at that moment," he stated, "not handcuffed me and make me lay in the wet grass and scare the shit out of my wife." Yeah, I don't blame him. Again, all this for an anonymous text message, not from me, Hambly criticized. "I am also on the local Do Not SWAT list and have been for years." Addressing those concerned for his and his wife's safety, Hambly then assured, "We are 100% fine. Cops were cool after they realized I wasn't a murderer, but they crossed a few lines in my opinion. Especially continuing to cuff my wife, who was supposed to be the victim of my murder," he said. "We had a good laugh, and I have updated their Do Not SWAT list people." Following up his initial tweets, Hambly later joked, "The bad news, nobody cams, so my video on it will be weak. The good news, the entire internet won't see my hairy ass crack spread out in the lawn. I'd say it's a wash." Though the YouTuber was unsure as to the exact reasons for the swatting attempting on his persons, Hambly theorized to a fan, "I am certain my swatting was due to the large amount of super chats I was sending him." Yes, of course, it was the same people, he further asserted. "I assumed they were mad about all the super chats. It's okay." In the aftermath, the Quartering shared an image of the scene outside his house taken via his home security system, noting that the police presence seen was only a fraction of the response. The next day, Hambly announced that he was seeking to formally escalate his complaints regarding the SWAT team's response, tweeting, "Just got out of my meeting with lawyer, half-Asian super layer Bill Richmond. He will be issuing some words Friday. That said, I believe that law enforcement acted mostly the best they could given the information they had. I have some critiques, but those will come from Bill. There are some major SOPs that need to be updated, and I believe this law around exigent circumstances is being abused to enter people's homes, he noted. But again, I support our police. They were kind to my dogs, and thankfully something bad didn't happen. More Friday. Swatting has seen a dramatic increase in recent months, with more and more individuals turning to the dangerous tactic as a means to respond to disagreements and silence opponents of any and all stripes. In fact, prior to this event, Poole told conservative commenter Candace Owens that he had been swatted at least 8 times in 2022 alone. The use of swatting hasn't been limited to 1 or 2 internet communities either, as notable figures recently subjected to a respectful false SWAT call range from the political American First founder Nick Fuentes to legal commentator Nick Rakita. Of course, as noted above, swatting content creators isn't a new phenomenon. In 2017, Peter Samedi was subject to a false call while hosting promotional live stream for his independent comic book imprint Alterna Comics. In this incident, police not only entered his home, but also drew guns on him. This is also far from the first time that Hambly's physical safety has come under threat by an individual who disagreed with him. At the onset of his YouTube career, Hambly exclusively covered news related to Magic the Gathering. However, during this time, the game's publisher, Wizards of the Coast, responded to complaints towards Hambly's criticism by not only banning him from their in-person events, but also stripping him of the ability to play online. The public disavowalment of Hambly's opinions led to several personal attacks upon his character from across the board gaming industry, all of which eventually culminated in his being physically assaulted by board game creator Matt Loader during Gen Con in 2018. Following the filing of a lawsuit against him by Hambly, Loader and the YouTuber ultimately settled the case out of court, with the former issuing a formal apology as part of the agreement. However, despite the incident, Loader, going by his middle name Fantastic, currently sits on the board of the Game Manufacturers Association, GAMA for short, one of the industry's largest trade organizations, and whose team is responsible for coordinating major gaming events across the country. Bounding into Comics has inquired with GAMA as to why someone with a history of assaulting others at industry conventions remains on their board, but as of writing, a response has not been provided. Most people roundly condemn such attacks, as living under constant threat of police violence is not only physically dangerous to content creators, but also an assault upon their freedom of speech. If YouTubers cannot speak freely about law, culture, politics, or even comic books out of fear for their physical safety, our entire society and public discourse has been irrevocably harmed. Why do you think the Quartering and Temple have been swatted? Leave a comment below, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as usual, have an awesome day.
We are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings, secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.